Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. This is a video in which I will teach you how to use Excel to generate a dependent or paired samples t-test. We can call it either dependent or paired samples t-test. Now, as you can see on the screen in front of you, I have two sets of data, a pre-test and a post-test. And these data represent the scores for a group of individuals who are participating in a self-assertiveness training. So the pretest is going to give a score, and as you can see, these scores are pretty low. The idea would be that after the assertiveness training, hopefully the scores are much higher, and that's exactly what we see here. But in order to compare them to see if there was a statistical difference made with respect to the means of both groups, we're going to use a t-test, as I taught you about in class. And to do that with Excel is actually quite easy. So I'm going to teach you how to do that today, beginning with step number one, which would be when you are looking at a complete set of data. And notice that we have 20 people here. The first set of cells has the labels, so we go down to 21 to have n equals 20. If you go up to the Data tab, you're going to bring up a screen that shows a new menu, and on the far right, you see what button describes Data Analysis. When you touch on that, you get a pop-up menu, and when you can kind of move down that, you're going to see something that looks oddly familiar. Or not even oddly, it's going to look familiar, and that's a good thing. Okay, t-test paired to sample for means. We already know that with t-test, we're comparing means of two different groups. That's part of the definition of the t-test. So if I select this and hit OK, I'm going to get a new pop-up screen. Now, I want you to look at this and think of these little arrows as bags, okay? You're opening a bag when you touch on this. So we've got two ranges here for variables, and we've got two columns of variables on the Excel data screen. So what we want to do is we want to put one set of the data in one of these bags and the other in the other. So here's how I'll do that. I'll touch the arrow. Okay, it opens up something that looks like this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and including the label, I'm going to hold down the left, I'm going to hold down the left click, and I'm going to go ahead and go down to the bottom. So I've got all of them in there. And when you touch this again, it's like closing the bag. There we go. So look, it filled up the bag there. So we need to fill up the other bag now. We'll touch this. Okay, again, including the label, hold down the button and fill it up. Okay. And when you go like that, it fills it up again. Now, because we have labels here, we're going to make sure that we check the box called labels. The alpha is simply the p-value that we are looking to see where the t-test's data falls above or below. I told you with social sciences, we're looking at 0.05. You already know that, so that's review. The only step that I want to have you do now to make things not confusing is go down to where it says output range, hit the radial, okay, another bag to open. This is just asking us where do we want the data once it's been calculated to occur on the screen. This is as good as any. See, I'll just tap on the cell that was already identified and close the bag. Now I've got all of my data sets in there. I've got range 1, that's the pretest. I've got range 2, that's the post-test. And then I've got where I want the data to ultimately populate as a graph. And that's exactly what is going to happen when I hit OK. There we go. There it is. So let's see what this tells us. First of all, we can expand this a little bit. Yeah, we can expand this out a little bit. Yeah, let me go back and I'll expand it out for you a little bit so you can see a little bit more here. There we go. Much better. So let's take a look at what this shows us right here in this column. Okay, we have the pre-test mean as 5.1. We get the post-test mean as 19.35, which is pretty substantial. Okay, but as I've taught you in class, what we're really looking for is to compare a calculated and critical value to determine whether or not we're going to accept or reject the null hypothesis. So let's take a look at what the t-stat says. The t-stat, which is like the t-score, says negative 18.4881. Now, what did we talk about in terms of a common characteristic for t-tests? We said that the values we're looking for are absolute. So it could be negative 18 or it could be positive 18. It's the 18 we're most concerned about. Now look what else this chart gives you. It gives you a critical value. Look at this. 2.09 is the critical. So we ask ourselves, is the absolute value of 18.4881 greater or less than the t critical value? And then clearly the absolute value of 18 is greater than 2.09 by a mile. So this is clearly an example where we can reject the null hypothesis. And what that tells us is that there is a difference statistically between the average of the pretest and the average of the post-test. So again, of course, this is much faster than using your hand and your pencil and paper to generate the same thing, but it's important for you to know how we got it. That's why we do it by hand first. Okay, so that's really all there is to it. It's not too hard here. So I'm going to go ahead and allow you to work on examples on your own, but you can always refer back to this video and maybe slow it down or stop it if you need some extra steps or guidance for review. Okay, thanks so much and thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.